The office buzzed with fluorescent light and forced politeness. At K Electronics Group, everything had a place, every personal label. Miracle had long since grown used to being the African intern girl. No name, no history, just the foreigner with bright eyes and a quiet presence who fetched coffee, filed documents, and did everything no one else wanted to do. But Miracle didn't break. She carried herself like water, soft but immovable. Her tall, graceful figure glided between cubicles, carrying files and silent strength. Her dark skin glowed with a natural sheen, her full lips always kissed with subtle gloss, her long curls dancing as she walked. Still, the pressure pressed from all sides. "Yeah, Miracle?" Team leader Na's shrill voice snapped from behind her. "Don't just stand there looking pretty." I said double-check the quarterly vendor receipts. "Do it again. I don't trust your numbers." "I did that already, sir," Miracle said quietly but without backing down. "Then do it again." He smirked. "Unless you want her contract to expire quietly." The room fell silent. No one looked at her. No one ever did when team leader Na threw his weight around. Miracle bit her bottom lip and nodded. She carried the documents back to her desk with the same dignity she always had, but her hands trembled slightly. It wasn't the work. It was the fear of losing the tiny foothold she had here. Outside, the Seoul skyline was pale with winter fog. She slipped away during her break and climbed to the rooftop, the only place no one followed her. There, Miracle crumbled. She knelt by the corner railing and let the tears come freely. The cold wind brushed her cheeks, almost soothingly. Her breath puffed out in white clouds as she muttered to herself. "Why am I even trying? They don't want me here. They never did." "Then stop trying for them." Miracle turned sharply. She hadn't heard anyone come up. A tall man sat quietly by the opposite end of the rooftop, his wheelchair angled toward the city. He wore a dark coat over a cashmere sweater, his sharp features soft in the gray light. His sleek black hair curled slightly at the front, and his eyes, dark, quiet, watched her, not unkindly. "I didn't mean to interrupt," he said, raising his hands. "This spot is my favorite too." She blinked, startled by his warmth. Sorry. I didn't know anyone else came up here." "You're new here," he said. "Intern?" Miracle hesitated. "Temporary staff. My contract ends next quarter." He nodded thoughtfully, eyes scanning the horizon.
"It's not always like this."
"But sometimes the wolves run the building." She cracked a small, watery smile. "So I've noticed." He leaned back, resting his hands on the armrests of his wheelchair. "You have a nice way of holding yourself. Like, you don't let the world decide your value." Miracle tilted her head. "You don't even know me." "Maybe not. But I can tell you're someone who knows how to suffer with grace. That's rare." She exhaled slowly, stepping closer. "You always say things like that to crying women on rooftops?" His lips curved. "Only the brave ones." She laughed. It surprised her how genuine it felt. "I'm Moon," he said finally, offering a hand. "Miracle. Nice name. Like something that breaks the rules of the world." They sat in quiet for a long while, just breathing. There was something unspoken in the air, not romance yet, but a strange peace. Like she had stepped into a hidden room in time where nothing could hurt her. The next few weeks surprised her. Moon appeared more often. Sometimes at the rooftop. Other times in the lobby cafe, where she'd retreat during breaks. He always had something kind to say, something unexpected, like a warm blanket laid quietly over her shoulders. But it wasn't until one Saturday, when her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, that things changed. "Moon, would you like to grab coffee today? Just as friends. And only if you're not too tired from saving the company." She stared at the screen for a full minute before smiling. "Miracle, sure. Only if you're paying." That day turned into weekends. Coffee turned into casual lunches. Then dinners. Then late-night talks. Moon was fascinating. Despite his condition, he was always optimistic, quietly funny, and startlingly intelligent. He made her forget the hardness of the world. But the biggest shock came one Monday morning. The entire floor buzzed with tension. "New director is arriving today," someone whispered. Apparently he's from corporate HQ, some disabled guy they're using as a figurehead so the real heir, Jun Kong, can keep the power. He's in a wheelchair, right? Probably just a puppet. Miracle didn't care until she looked up from her desk and saw Moon wheeling into the department conference room with 2 assistants. She froze. He looked just as surprised to see her. But he recovered fast, offering a small nod before addressing the team. I'm Moon Kong, he said. Starting today, I'll be overseeing this division. Later that day, she cornered him in the hallway. You knew, she whispered. Why didn't you tell me? Moon looked apologetic. I didn't want you to change the way you treated me. Everyone always does. I wouldn't have, but you should have trusted me. His eyes softened. I do. That's why I'm telling you now. Don't let anyone drag you down. Not for me. Not for this job. She paused. Are you really crippled? His smile faded a little. I'm injured. The full story is complicated, but I'm working on it. She searched his face. I believe you. And that was the beginning of everything. The news of Moon's appointment spread through the office like fire in a paper maze. Every whisper curled with mockery. Every stare weighed down with pity or disbelief. Did you hear? Whispered Minna, the finance assistant. The new director can't even walk. It's a stunt, said another. Probably just a placeholder until Jun Kong finishes his MBA and takes over. Miracle walked past them with her chin slightly raised. She had perfected the art of hearing without reacting. But by lunch, the jokes had grown crueler. He must have been her charity case, someone muttered as Miracle walked into the break room. She probably feels like a queen now. Foreign Cinderella, poor crippled prince. A ripple of stifled laughter followed. Miracle turned, her voice low but firm. You all finished? The room hushed. I didn't think I was that interesting, she added, holding their gaze. But if you're that curious about my life, at least be brave enough to ask me directly. No one replied. She left with her tray, calm on the outside, burning on the inside. Later that afternoon, Miracle slipped into Moon's office during break. The large room smelled faintly of pine wood and paper. Moon sat behind a glass desk, his hands moving across a digital display, but he looked up immediately when she entered. She closed the door behind her and sighed. They're tearing you apart. I expected it, he said quietly. I'm used to it. She walked over and stood behind him, her hands gently touching his shoulders. You shouldn't be. Moon leaned back slightly, his head tilted, so he could see her. You shouldn't be either. They're not just tearing me apart, they're tearing you apart for being near me. I've been torn apart since I got here, she said with a faint smile. This isn't new. You amaze me, he murmured. You take all this hate, and you still show up every day, still stand tall. I guess it's easier when someone believes in you. Moon blinked. She stepped around him and knelt beside the wheelchair, placing a hand gently on his thigh. May I? He looked confused. What are you? Your legs, she said softly. You said you're not completely paralyzed. I'm not. The muscles are weak. Nerve damage. A bit complicated. I did some training back in Nigeria. My aunt's a physiotherapist. Sometimes I helped. He hesitated. You don't have to. I want to. And with that, Miracle began to massage his leg gently, pressing into the muscle with skillful fingers. Moon let out a quiet sigh and closed his eyes. You carry too much tension, she said. I carry everything I can't say. Then say something.
To me.
He opened his eyes, searching hers. I think I've never trusted anyone like this before. She smiled. Then we're even. That weekend, she visited his home, a large, modern villa nestled in the hills of Incheon. It wasn't cold, but it was too pristine, too quiet, like a museum built to remind someone of what they lost. They sat on the terrace, warm tea between them. This house is beautiful, Miracle said, looking over the garden. It used to be full of life, but ever since my accident, it just became a symbol of pity, of failure. She glanced at him. Why do they treat you like you don't exist? Because they think I threw away my role in the company. My father made a decision to hand power to my younger brother, June, because I wasn't whole anymore. That's cruel. Moon shrugged. I stopped fighting after a while. Everyone left. Even the woman I was supposed to marry. Miracle's eyes widened. You were engaged? 3 times, actually. One marriage even went through for 6 months. She didn't respond immediately. The pain in his voice was real, but so was the pattern. What happened? She asked carefully. They married the director, not the man. Once the wheelchair came. So did the excuses. Her throat tightened. And now you're here, pretending you're just some office puppet. Not pretending, he said. But hiding maybe. Hoping that if I built something real with someone, it would be because of who I am, not what I am. Miracle swallowed. And what do you think we're building? He turned to her. Something terrifying. Their eyes met, and for the first time, neither of them looked away. His hand reached out, hesitant, but she closed the gap, placing her fingers over his. Moon leaned in, slowly, unsure, until his lips brushed hers, soft, warm, and careful. She closed her eyes and kissed him back, gently at first, then with the hunger of someone who hadn't felt wanted in a long time. When they pulled apart, he exhaled deeply. I wasn't supposed to fall in love again. Miracle rested her forehead against his. Then don't. He smiled. Too late. The next day, the storm arrived. She was heading to Moon's office when a sharp voice echoed through the floor. You think you can replace me? Everyone turned. Standing in front of Moon's office door was a tall, elegant Korean woman dressed in designer black, her lips painted scarlet, eyes like knives. Suwa Kim, heiress to a business empire. Moon's first love and once his arranged bride. What is this? Suwa scoffed, walking into the office where Moon sat behind his desk. Miracle froze, stunned. Staff had already begun gathering. Moon looked up calmly.
Suwa.
This isn't the place. You humiliated me. I was supposed to be beside you. But instead you parade this little foreign pet around like she belongs. Miracle's face flushed, but she didn't step back. I'm not a pet, she said, voice strong. And he's not yours. You think you can change the narrative? Suwa spat. You're just a phase. A fantasy. And when he gets bored, he'll throw you away too. Enough. Moon's voice sliced through the room like lightning. Everyone froze. This is my company, he said. Not my father's. Not yours.
Mine.
And Miracle is here, because I want her here. You don't get to insult her just because you lost. Suwa stared at him in disbelief, then at Miracle. You'll regret this. She turned and stormed out. Silence filled the office floor. Then someone whispered, She chose him? Others sneered. One guy scoffed, Guess she's into broken men. That night, Moon found Miracle sitting in a dark meeting room. You didn't deserve that, he said quietly. She turned. Neither did you. I'm sorry. I'm not. She looked at him. I chose you.
Not your body.
Not your position. You. He came closer. You're going to break at this rate. Then break with me, she whispered, leaning into his chest. They kissed again, this time longer, deeper. Moon's hand cupped her cheek, his thumb brushing away a tear. He was no longer porcelain. He was human, and she loved him for it.